Sister Faustina was very ill now. Her tuberculosis was spreading throughout her body.
My daughter, encourage souls to pray the chaplet I gave you, by which I am pleased to grant everything they will ask of me. Help me save souls. You will go to a dying sinner, and you will continue to recite the chaplet. In this way you will obtain for him trust in my mercy, for he is already in despair.
I found myself in a strange cottage. The man was dying in great torment. All about the bed was his family. They were crying. Suddenly, I saw a multitude of demons. I began to pray, and the spirits of darkness fled, with hissing and threats directed at me. Then the soul of the man became calm and, filled with trust, rested in the Lord.
At the hour of death, I defend anyone who prays this chaplet, and anyone who is near death, for whom this chaplet is being offered.
At the same moment, I found myself again in my own room. How this happens, I do not know.
Sister Faustina remained confined to her bed. Her illness was in its final stages. Her sisters were praying the chaplet as part of their devotion. Still, Faustina agonized to complete the 6th and last notebook of her diary.
My God, although my sufferings are great and protracted, I accept them from your hands as magnificent gifts. Because everything is so much less than your mercy. That I know. That is clear to me.
Sister Faustina was a true mystic. That means she gave herself willingly to become completely identified with Christ. You see, just as the eternal Spirit transformed the humanity of Christ into a saving divine sacrifice by what he suffered, so the more the Holy Spirit transformed Faustina by what she suffered, the more God was able to work through her.
Holy Father, in the name of all of the congregation of Marians, his father's brothers, his associates, we wish to give you this icon as an expression of our thanksgiving for your proclaiming to the world the message of divine mercy.
From the beginning of his ministry in Rome, Pope John Paul II has considered this message his special task. He published it in his second encyclical, Dives in Misericordia, God who is rich in mercy.
Come sapete, il 1° maggio prossimo avrò la gioia di proclamare beato il venerabile Papa Giovanni Paolo II. La data scelta è molto significativa. Sarà infatti la seconda domenica di Pasqua che egli stesso intitolò alla Divina Misericordia e nella cui vigilia terminò la sua vita terrena.
Benedict XVI said that this beatification is a source of personal joy for him and to all those who knew John Paul II.
Quanti lo hanno conosciuto, quanti lo hanno stimato e amato, non potranno non gioire con la Chiesa per questo evento. Siamo felici.
The beatification of John Paul II will be a historic event. In the last 10 centuries, no pope has ever beatified his predecessor. Throughout history, 78 popes have been named saints, and only 10 are blessed. It's estimated that some 2 million pilgrims will converge on Rome for the ceremony. Vatican spokesman Federico Lombardi said an invitation is not required to attend the ceremony. Everyone traveling to Rome is welcome.
Just half an hour after the Cardinal Consistory began, Pope Francis announced the date when John Paul II and John XXIII will be declared saints. Both will be canonized on April 27th, which marks the Day of Divine Mercy.
Gaudio et lector, venerabile fratres, quod existimatis totius ecclesiae veneratione beatos Ioannem vicessimum tertium et Ioannem Paulum secundum esse proponendo. Itaque autoritate Deo omnipotentis, apostolorum Petri et Pauli ag nostra, decernibus ut, beati Ioannes vicesimus tertius, et Ioannes Paulus secundus, die septimo e vicesimo mensis aprilis, anno bismillesimo quarto decimo, in sanctorum album referantur.
The death of the Holy Father, John Paul II, and the days that followed have been an extraordinary period of grace for the Church and the whole world. I seem to feel his strong hand clasping mine. I seem to see his smiling eyes and hear his words, at this moment addressed specifically to me. Do not be afraid.
I'm Father John Corapi, and welcome to Northwest Montana, the place where I pray and prepare for my various preaching assignments, the place where I live. It is April 19th, 2005. We elected a new pope today. Joseph Cardinal Ratzinger, the prefect for the Sacred Congregation for the Doctrine of the Faith for over 20 years, is now Pope Benedict XVI. It's a happy day for the Church, and the Church resounds with the acclamation, Habemus Papam, we have a Pope. A couple of weeks ago, I traveled to Rome to say goodbye to Pope John Paul II. He ordained me in 1991 on Trinity Sunday at St. Peter's Basilica. And the next day, I celebrated my first Mass in the crypt under the main floor of St. Peter's at the Clementine Chapel over the bones of St. Peter. At that time, little did I realize that one day Pope John Paul II would be laid to rest right next to that very chapel. I spent 3 years of my life in the early 1990s researching and writing my doctoral thesis at the University of Navarre in Pamplona, Spain. The thesis was entitled The Theology of the Cross in the Magisterium of John Paul II. I've